So Assalamualaikum and good evening to our respected lecturer and classmates. My name is Waniza Hanis binti Wanis Hanif.
My name is Nurdayana Alisha binti Hussein.
My name is Nur Aimi Sofia binti Amin Hasib.
My name is Nur Aina Tasha binti Kamaluzaman.
And we are from Team 5. Today, I'll start by introducing Robert Frost's poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. So as you can see, this is the poem, and this poem talks about how the narrator paused to admire the snowy woods while thinking on life responsibilities. Moving on to the introduction. So, this guidebook gives a visual and detailed analysis of the poem, and it is designed for college students to explore its meaning, themes, and literary devices. To make it easier to understand, the poem is broken down into stanzas, with visuals to make the analysis more engaging. Robert Frost, who was born in 1874, was an American poet known for writing about nature, human emotions, and philosophical ideas. And in this poem, it described a narrator pausing to admire the snowy woods while reflecting on life responsibilities. Its soothing rhythm and imagery highlight the beauty of nature in contrast to the demands of life. In this poem, students can explore themes like beauty, solitude, and the beauty of nature, while analyzing imagery, symbolism, rhyme, and rhythm, and other literary devices. Overall, this guidebook aims to make studying poetry both fun and meaningful, and while helping students to connect more deeply with Frost's work. Now I will pass the presentation to the next presenter.
For my part, I will be presenting about the title and theme for our chosen poem. Firstly, I will explain the meaning both in literal and metaphorical. In literal, the title shows that the speaker stops during a journey to observe quiet woods on a snowy evening. The setting is calm, peaceful, and also beautiful, which creates a relaxing atmosphere. However, the title also has a metaphorical meaning. The word stopping represents a temporary pause in life. The woods can symbolize mystery, temptation, or also the unknown, while the snowy evening represents calmness and isolation. Overall, it suggests a moment of reflection and also possibly deeper thoughts about life. Next, I will explain the themes and their connection to the title. The first theme is life as a journey and responsibility. The speaker wants to stay in the woods, but he continues his journey. This shows that even though we want to rest, we still have responsibilities to fulfill. And the phrase miles to go represents duties that are not yet completed, and the title shows that stopping is only temporary. The second theme is the beauty of nature. The woods are described as calm, quiet, and also magical. Nature strongly influences the speaker's feelings, and the title highlights how he pauses just to admire the nature. Last theme is isolation and reflection. The speaker is alone in a silent environment, which has encouraged him into deep thinking and also self-awareness. The title also reflects this quiet moment of reflection. And now I will explain the connection between the title, themes, and also the whole poem itself. The title may seem simple, but it actually represents a deeper meaning. The act of stopping shows a temporary escape, while the woods represent temptation and rest. These ideas link to the themes, especially responsibility versus desire. The speaker wants to stay but continues his journey, showing the importance of duty. It also connects to the idea of life as a journey, where we stop, where stopping is only a short pause. Finally, the overall meaning of the poem is that it reflects a universal human experience, and people often want to rest and escape from responsibilities, but they must continue their journey. And this shows that the balance between enjoyment and duty is important. That's all for my part. Thank you.
Okay, so next we move on to the interpretation. So before we move on to the interpretation by stanza, we will go on to the overall first. So this poem has 4 stanza, or simply put, 4 paragraphs. And the meter is iambic tetrameter. Iambic tetrameter means that each line has 4 feet or 8 syllables in each of the line. And next, the speaker. The speaker is a traveler who stops for a moment of peace, but then continues because of his responsibilities. And also the tone of the poem is calm, reflective, and slightly melancholic. At first, the poem is calm and quiet, like the stillness of the snow, but then it slightly becomes serious and thoughtful as the speaker reminds himself of his responsibility. And for the poem's style, it's simple, natural, and descriptive, but with deeper meanings. So the poem uses the word woods to represent his rest or his escape, and journey to represent life and his responsibilities. So overall, this poem, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, by Robert Frost, presents like the life of the speaker who wanted to stop to admire the beauty of snowy woods or enjoyment in his life. But this moment is only temporary because he needs to continue his journey, or we say continue his life and take responsibilities of his life. And we move on to the next part. Okay, for the first stanza, this stanza shows that the speaker stops to admire the quiet, snowy woods, even though he knew that they belong to someone else. He said that he will not see me stopping here. This means that the speaker knows that he is actually on someone else's land, but he just wants to take a private moment with himself without anyone knowing. So for the technical aspect and sounds of stanza 1, the rhyme scheme is ABA, and the sound devices that can be found in stanza first is alliteration. Alliteration means like the repetition of consonant at the start of the words. So, for example, whose would. So, whose would starts with W. So, this is an alliteration. So, this will make the poem sounds more gentle and peaceful. For the figurative language, there is symbolism like woods. Woods means the speakers want to escape from his responsibilities. And also there's hyperbole. The sentence to watch his woods fills up with snow, because hyperbole means that it is an exaggeration. So it doesn't literally mean that the woods fill up with snow, but it means that the wood is maybe filled with snow, but not full. We move on to stanza 2. So in stanza 2, the speaker mentions about his horse. The line, "My little horse must think it cure." So this means that his horse finds it strange that he stopped in such a quiet place. This means that the speaker is doing what he is usually not doing. It's not in his normal routine. And let's move on to the technical aspect and sound of stanza 2. The rhyme scheme is BBCB, and the sound devices that can be found is repetition of soft consonants like slow, thoughtful pace. And the figurative language that can be found is personification. Personification is giving human quality to non-human or inanimate object. So the sentence, "My little horse must think it cure." So this means that the speaker is giving the horse a human-like thought. It's not actually possible for the speaker to know what the horse is thinking, but so this is the personification. It's giving the horse the human quality for the horse. And there's also symbolism, to stop without a farmhouse nearby. So this symbol, this can mean that actually the farmhouse were still far away and there's still a long way to go to the farmhouse. And also imagery, frozen lake and darkest evening. So this two words can mean that the place is in a cold and isolated setting. Yes, let's move on to stanza 3. Stanza 3 focuses on how the environment around the speaker. It shows that how quiet everything is around the speaker. In the line, "The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake." So the speaker describes a very soft and peaceful scene. It shows that there's no people around there and how still and undisturbed the environment is. So the technical aspect and sound rhyme scheme is CCDC, and the sound devices that can be found is onomatopoeia, which means that the word is imitating the sound that they describe. So shake, like the sound of the bells. And also there's alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant at the start of the word, like sweep and sound. So it starts with S. And the figurative language in stanza 3 is personification, like to ask if there's some mistake. The horse is signaling the speaker by shaking his harness. It's kind of like the same. And the imagery, sound plus sight, like wind and also the snowflakes. Let's move on to stanza 4. So in the last stanza, the speaker finally realized that he cannot stay in this place forever. The line, "But I have promises to keep," shows that he knows that he has his own responsibilities and things that he must do. Even though he thinks that the woods are lovely, dark, and deep, he chooses to move on and take responsibilities. And the technical aspect and sounds that can be found is the rhyme scheme is D, 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 D. So this is a little different from stanza 1 until 3 because maybe the speaker wants to put like a strong ending to it. And there's repetition, "and miles to go before I sleep." So this is to create an emphasis and to make the readers can easily memorize it. And the figurative language of stanza 4 is imagery. There's lovely, dark, and deep. This means that we can imagine that the woods is attractive but mysterious. And there's also allegory. Allegory is words that give deeper meanings, even though miles to go before I sleep. It can have deeper meanings. One can be reference to like he wants to rest, or another one can be interpreted as death. Maybe that's far-fetched, but it can be a thing that can be true. And lastly, there's symbol. So woods means symbol is temptation, rest, and possibly death. And journey is the speaker's life responsibility. So that's it for the poem's interpretation. So let's move on to the next part.
Okay, thank you to Diana. Okay, so let me explain about the comparative analysis, which is Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening and The Sound of Silence song by Simon and Garfunkel. In this section, the poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening is compared with the song The Sound of Silence by Simon and Garfunkel. Although they belong to different genres, poetry and music, both works explore themes of solitude, reflection, and the human condition. Okay, so from here, the similarities is one major similarity between the poem and the song is the theme of isolation and solitude. In first poem, the speaker finds himself alone in the quiet woods surrounded by darkness and snow. This solitude creates a peaceful yet slightly mysterious atmosphere. Similarly, in The Sound of Silence, the speaker describes walking alone in darkness, emphasizing emotional and social isolation. Both texts highlight how being alone can lead to deep thinking and self-awareness. Another similarity is the use of imagery to create mood. Frost used visual and sensory imagery such as lovely, dark, and deep woods and falling snow to create a calm and reflective mood. In contrast, the song used darker imagery like darkness, neon light, and people thinking without speaking to create a more haunting and unsettling tone. Despite the difference in tone, both rely heavily on imagery to communicate emotions. Additionally, both works explore the idea of inner reflection. In first poem, the speaker paused his journey to admire the beauty of nature, suggesting a moment of personal contemplation. Likewise, the sound of silence reflects on society, communication, and human disconnection, showing a deeper philosophical reflection on life. Let's see the difference. Despite the similarities, there are clear differences between the two works. One key difference is the tone and mood. Frost's poem has a calm, peaceful, and almost soothing tone, even though there is a subtle hint of darkness. On the other hand, The Sound of Silence carries a more serious and critical tone, expressing concern about the lack of meaningful communication in society. Another difference lies in the message or theme. Frost's poem focuses on the balance between enjoying peaceful moments and fulfilling responsibilities, as seen in the repeat line, and miles to go before I sleep. This suggests that life continues despite moments of pause. In contrast, the song critiques modern society, emphasizing how people fail to truly connect with one another. Furthermore, the setting in both works is different. Frost's poem is set in a natural environment, highlighting the beauty and tranquility of nature. Meanwhile, The Sound of Silence is set in a more urban or accept environment, focusing on human society and its issues. Okay, next. After all, I will conclude this report, which is, in conclusion, Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening is a simple yet deeply meaningful poem that effectively captures theme of solitude, beauty, and responsibility. Through its clear structure, consistent rhyme scheme, and vivid imagery, the poem allows readers to experience a quiet moment of reflection alongside the speaker. Moreover, the comparative analysis with The Sound of Silence further enhance the understanding of the poem by showing how similar themes can be presented differently across texts. This encourages readers to think creatively and appreciate multiple perspectives in literature. This poem is highly suitable for students and general readers because of its accessible language and universal theme. It teaches important life lessons about balance, commitment, and appreciating quiet moments in life. Overall, this guidebook aims to provide a comprehensive and engaging understanding of the poem, making poetry more approachable and enjoyable for readers. That's all from my part. Thank you.